It's the middle of the afternoon. The sky has gone dark, and a man who has been hanging on a cross for hours looks up and says 7 things. Not randomly, deliberately. Every word chosen. Every sentence carrying something he needed the people standing below him and the people who would come after them to know. Today, we're going to sit with those 7 last statements, what they were, where they came from, and what Jesus was really saying when he said them. These 7 statements are drawn from all 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. No single Gospel records all 7. To hear them together, you have to read all 4 accounts side by side. That's worth pausing on. 4 different writers, 4 different perspectives, each preserving something the others didn't. Together, they give us the full picture. The first statement comes almost immediately after the nails. Luke chapter 23, verse 34. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. He says this while the soldiers are still dividing his clothes beneath him, while the crowd is still mocking. Before anyone has asked for forgiveness, before anyone even realizes they need it, the first thing out of his mouth is not a cry of pain. It's a prayer for the very people doing this to him, and he gives them an explanation in the same breath. They don't know what they're doing. The second statement comes in response to someone else. On either side of Jesus, 2 criminals are being crucified. One of them mocks him. The other one doesn't. He says, Lord, remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom. Luke chapter 23, verse 42. It's one of the most honest prayers in all of Scripture. No theology, no track record, no time left to do anything differently. Just remember me. And Jesus says, Verily I say unto thee, today shalt thou be with me in paradise. Not, maybe, not. We'll see how this goes. Today. The same word, the same certainty, offered to a man who had nothing left to offer back. The third statement is personal, perhaps the most quietly human of all 7. Jesus looks down and sees his mother standing near the cross. Beside her is John, the disciple he was closest to. He says to her, Woman, behold thy son, and to John, behold thy mother. John chapter 19, verses 26 and 27. In the middle of dying, he makes sure his mother will be taken care of. He hands her into the keeping of someone who will look after her. It's a son doing what a son does, even here, even now. The fourth statement comes at the 3-hour mark, the midpoint of the crucifixion, and it's the one that shakes people most. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani? Matthew chapter 27, verse 46. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Some people in the crowd don't understand what he's saying. They think he's calling for the prophet Elijah. But anyone who knew their scripture would have recognized it immediately. This is the opening line of Psalm 22, a psalm David wrote 1,000 years earlier, describing in striking detail the experience of crucifixion, long before crucifixion existed as a practice. Jesus isn't losing faith. He's pointing to a text, telling anyone who has ears to hear, this is the moment that Psalm was written about. This is the fulfillment. And yet, the words are also real. He is fully human. He is experiencing what abandonment feels like. He is not performing it. He is living it. The fifth statement is brief. I thirst. John chapter 19, verse 28. 2 words. The Son of God, who told the woman at the well he could offer living water so she would never thirst again, is thirsty. It's one of the plainest reminders in all of Scripture that the incarnation was real. He got tired. He got hungry. He felt pain. He thirsted. The sixth statement is the one that changes the atmosphere of the whole scene. John chapter 19, verse 30. It is finished. In the original Greek, this is a single word, tetelestai. It was a word used in commerce, stamped on a bill when a debt had been paid in full, nothing more owed. Account settled. He's not saying, it's over, I've failed. He's saying, it's done, completed. The thing I came to do is finished. And then, the seventh and final statement. Luke chapter 23, verse 46. Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. He began with Father. He ends with Father. The first word and the last word of his dying are both addressed to the same person. Whatever the fourth statement expressed, the anguish, the darkness, the felt absence, it didn't have the last word. 7 statements, and if you trace them together, they tell a complete story. Forgiveness for those who wronged him. Salvation for someone who only had a moment left. Care for his mother. Honest anguish. Human thirst. A completed work. And a final act of trust. The story doesn't end on the cross, of course. 3 days later, the tomb is empty and everything changes. But that's not where we're stopping today, because what he said before the end matters just as much as what happened after. Here's what I want to leave you with. Those 7 statements weren't spoken into a vacuum. They were spoken in the middle of the worst moment imaginable, and every single one of them was directed outward, toward the people who were hurting him, toward a dying man beside him, toward a grieving mother below him, toward God above him, the same hill we started with, the same crosses. But look at the edge of the sky. Something is beginning. Whatever you're carrying today, whatever feels finished or forsaken or too heavy to lift, these 7 statements were spoken for you too, not as a lesson, as a gift. If this gave you something to hold on to, sit with it a little longer. And if you'd like to keep exploring Scripture together, one story at a time, slowly, honestly, subscribe to Bible Table. We'll be here next time, with the Word open and the table set. Bible Table. Sit down, slow down, and open the Word.